Good morning, folks. My name is Kurt Hitzemann. I'm a county court judge here in Hernando County. You folks are here for your first appearance. The purpose of the first appearance is so that you may be informed of the charges against you. I will determine if there's probable cause for those charges. Probable cause simply means that it's more likely than not that a crime occurred and more likely than not that you're the person that has committed the crime. As you stand before me today, however, I presume that you're innocent. That presumption of innocence will stay with you through every phase of the prosecution unless and until the state attorney's office can prove the charges against you beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. After determining whether there's probable cause, we'll set your conditions of pretrial release, that is your bail or your bond. In most cases, you've had a bond set already pursuant to the bond schedule here in the 5th Judicial Circuit or the warrant which led to your arrest. I'll determine if that bond should be raised or lowered or left the same, or whether there'll be additional conditions of pretrial release placed upon you. We'll let you know when your next court date will be. If you'd like to have the services of the public defender, I'll gladly appoint the public defender to represent you this morning. You do have a right to have contact with folks on the outside, family, friends, counsel. If you have not had an opportunity to make that call, please let me know. We'll make sure that that happens. Finally, and most importantly, you're advised that you do have an absolute right to remain silent with regard to the facts which surround your arrest. I encourage you to do that. These proceedings are recorded. In addition, there is an assistant state attorney in the courtroom with me. If you say something that tends to incriminate you, they will use it against you in the prosecution down the road. I now need each and every one of you there at the jail to please raise your right hands and be sworn. Everybody raise your right hand. Y'all solemnly swear or affirm, tell the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth? Outstanding. When I call your name, please step forward to the podium. Teresa Anderson.
Judge, are you familiar with this case?
Yeah.
She was 15 minutes late to Judge Turner's docket yesterday morning. Her ride had serious health issues, and she has a bond on this case. And we're just requesting that she be ROR'd or be put on Judge Turner's docket for tomorrow morning.
I'll move her to tomorrow for you.
Thank you, Judge.
He has a docket tomorrow, which is 7/7?
7. Yeah.
All right. Teresa, what's your date of birth?
7/14/52.
All right. So the warrant was signed by Judge Toner. Apparently showed up late in his court yesterday, I'm guessing. Yep. He set your bonds on the warrant at $10,000, $4,000, and $2,000 respectively. I'm not going to change those, but I will send you back to see him tomorrow. So if you can't bond out, you'll be back in front of him tomorrow morning. And if you guys have been appointed on your case, obviously?
Yes, Judge.
All right. So we'll continue the appointment of the public defender. I will leave the bonds per the warrant. But like I said, that at worst cases, you'll be in court tomorrow morning, all right?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Lynette Murphy. Morning, Ms. Murphy. What's your date of birth?
12/13/1958.
Ms. Murphy, you're here on a warrant that was signed by Judge Rupi. Apparently you failed to appear in her court on a charge of no motor vehicle registration. State, is this something she can resolve this morning?
Yes, Your Honor, we would offer time served at this point.
All right. Ms. Murphy, if you'd like to take care of this case today, you can plead no contest. If you do that, I'd sentence you to 1 day in the county jail, which you've already done. There'd be a fine and court cost of $438, but then you'd be released from jail today, and this case would be over. Does that sound like something you'd like to do?
Do I have time to pay the money, or do I have to pay the $438 now?
No, what you'd be able to do is come to the courthouse and stop into the clerk's office and ask them about setting up a payment plan, and then put you on a payment plan for it.
Yes.
You want to do that then?
Yes.
You understand, by entering a plea today, you give up the right to have a trial by jury, the right to confront the witnesses against you, the right to remain silent, the right to have a lawyer represent you. But you want to give up those rights so we can take care of this case today?
Yes.
Very good. Case number 17CT2097, as to the charge that you drove an unregistered vehicle. How do you wish to plead? You can plead no contest. It simply means that you're not fighting the charge.
Yeah, it was a farm tractor.
Okay, well, if you had it on the road and it didn't have a tag, they can write you for this.
They can't register, so okay.
Okay. Ms. Murphy, you want to take care of it today, or you want to talk to a lawyer
Yes.
first?
No,
I'm
I'll
sorry.
take care of it.
Okay, you want to
I'll
plead?
take-
You want to plead no contest? It means you're not fighting the charge, even though you may have a defense. You're willing to not fight it, so we can get out and be done with this.
I'll get out and be done with
There
it.
you go. I'll accept that as a no contest plea. Find it's freely and voluntarily made. I'll withhold adjudication, sentence you to 1 day with 1 day served. Finding court costs is $438 and the cost of incarceration, but that takes care of it, ma'am. If there's nothing else keeping you in the jail, you will be released today. And then sometime in the next few days, stop by the clerk's office on the first floor in the courthouse in Brooksville, and they'll put you on a payment plan, all right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Katrina Secourt. Morning, miss. What's your date of birth?
5/13/87.
Katrina, you're here on a probable cause arrest for a violation of probation. There is probable cause for the VOP. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'm going to appoint the public defender. Bond, of course, on the VOP is going to be no bond. We'll have you back in court on the 31st of July. The public defender will come see you at the jail before your court date, okay? Thank you. Brittany McCool. Morning, Brittany. What's your date of birth?
11/12/93.
Brittany, the charge this morning is driving under the influence. There's probable cause for the charge. As for that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State, what can you tell me?
Looks like she has a 2016 possession of controlled substance case, and that looks like that's about the extent of it. She also had a traffic case that she apparently handled through pretrial diversion.
Not here.
It's out of Citrus, so
Okay.
yeah, that's confusing to me, but that's what it shows on the
Okay.
record.
Brittany, I have an address for you on Scarlet Oak Terrace in Homosassa. Is that where you live?
Uh-huh.
How long have you lived there?
10 years.
Do you have a job these days?
No.
I will leave your bond at the schedule, which is the $500. I'm going to have you back in court on August 2nd. Very important that when you get out, you go and see the public defender right away, okay?
All right.
Thank you. Ronald Beauchamp. Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
August 21st, 62.
All right. You have one charge this morning, Ronald, of sex offender registration violation. There's probable cause for that charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll point the PD. State.
It's not good, Your Honor. The underlying charge for which he was, this is not so odd, and that was 8 years DOC. There's been multiple violations. His criminal record goes back to 83.
PC said he just got out, too, right?
I didn't look at the release date on it, but it looks like that was 2008. He was sentenced to 8 years state prison, so it works out to about that.
All right, very good. And Ronald, you got a job these days?
No, sir.
Okay. Because of your status, I'm going to set the bond at $10,000. I'm also required to order GPS monitoring. So if you were to bond out, you'd be subject to GPS monitoring at your expense. I'm going to have you back in court on the 31st of July. If you can't get out, the public defender will come see you at the jail before your court date, all right?
Okay.
Thank you. Timothy Britz. Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
10/28/93.
Timothy, you're here on a warrant that I signed. Apparently, you failed to appear in my court on a notice to appear for a violation of probation case. Ms. Newby, what's the recommendation?
60 days.
And so, Tim, they're offering you 60 days to resolve the VOP. You could accept that this morning if you wanted to. It's not necessary. I can appoint an attorney to speak to you because you'll be back in court in far less than 60 days. So if there's any way to get an improved deal than the 60 days, the attorney can help you do that. And certainly in the meantime, you'd be getting credit time while you're in the jail. But if you were determined to take the 60 this morning, I'd be happy to give it to you. You want to take the 60, or would you like to have a chance to speak to a lawyer first?
I'll take the 60.
Okay, you sure?
Yeah, a lawyer, can I talk to a public defender?
Yeah, that's Tim. There's absolutely, it cannot get any worse by speaking to the public defender, and you ought to do it
Yeah.
because then you can tell them what happened and what your situation is. Maybe they can get you a better deal. You'll be back in court on the 2nd of August, I think. Yep. So, you'd only be halfway through a 60-day sentence at that point, and if they can get you something better, then maybe you don't have to do all 60, all right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I'll appoint the public defender. It's still going to be no bond. We'll have you back in court on the 2nd of August. They're going to come see you before that and see if we can get anything better for you, okay?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Paul Kleitz. Wanted, sir, what's your date of birth?
11/18/84.
While you're here on a warrant that was signed by Judge Merritt, he found probable cause for a violation of probation. As for that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You plan to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. Bond on the warrant is no bond. I can't change that. I'm going to send you back to see Judge Merritt on the 21st of July. They told you the 31st, but the right day is the 21st. And the PD will come see you before then, okay?
All right.
Thank you, sir. Joseph Danley. Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
6979.
All right, Joe, I have a probable cause arrest for a violation of probation. Looks like you had probation out of Lake County, but you were being supervised here in Hernando. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay. So there is PC for the VOP. The bond on that's going to be no bond. What we're going to do is this morning, Lake County will be notified that you're here and ready to go. I will give them 5 days to come get you. It does not normally take 5 days with Lake County. But if for some strange reason you're still here in 5 days, they're going to bring you back to see me and we'll find out what the holdup is, all right?
Okay.
Thank you. Raymond Downey. Morning, Raymond. What's your date of birth?
2776.
Raymond, I have a warrant for you out of, looks like Seminole County, Oklahoma. Your options this morning are this. You're entitled, if you wish, to have an extradition hearing. The point of an extradition hearing would be to determine if you're the right Raymond Downey and if Seminole County, Oklahoma actually has a warrant for your arrest. If we're able to determine those things, then at that point, the Oklahoma would be notified and told that they have 15 days to come get you. The process of arranging that hearing can take in the neighborhood of 60 days. While you're waiting for that to happen, you'll stay right there in the Hernando County Jail. You may waive your right to that hearing this morning if you wish. If you waive your right to that hearing this morning, Oklahoma will be teletyped right after first appearance and told that they now have 15 days to come and get you. If you're still here 15 days from now, they're going to bring you back to see me, and I'm going to find out if Oklahoma is actually coming to get you or what the holdup is. So what I need to know this morning, Raymond, is do you want an extradition hearing or are you willing to waive that hearing and put Oklahoma on the clock right now?
I'm willing to put Oklahoma on the clock.
There you go. They're going to give you a form to sign. Very good. Raymond, if you're still here in 15 days, they're going to bring you back to see me and we'll find out what the problem is, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Raymond had time to go. Robert Emmerich. Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
1/14/77.
The charge this morning, Robert, is aggravated battery on a pregnant person. There's probable cause for the charge. As to the charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like to be public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. State.
It's a failure to appear in 2016. He had a 2009 ag assault and shooting into a dwelling case that he did 3 years, 9 months DOC for. Prior to that, as a gap, there's a 96 FTA, and then there's a 92 burglary and grand theft that he did some sort of diversion program they call the Jazz, which predates me.
Okay. All right. Robert, I have an address for you on Bromley Avenue in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes.
Okay. And it looks like Miss Greif does not live there, right?
No, she does also. Yeah.
Okay. And do you have a job these days?
I did until my arrest.
Okay. What were you doing?
Putting in driveways.
Okay. I'm going to set your bond at $2,000. Condition of the bond, however, is that you have no contact with Susanna Greif. No contact means no contact of any kind. You don't call, you don't write, you don't email, you don't text message. You don't contact her through any social media. You don't have a third person contact her. Don't go where she lives. Don't go where she works. Don't have any contact of any kind. Any way that you might imagine contacting her, I forbid you to do that. If you have contact and we find out about it, your bond can be revoked and you can be held without bond until your charges are resolved. It means no contact even if she wants to contact. So if you answer your phone and hear her voice, you should hang up. If you're out and about and see her, you should turn around and run the other way. You need to understand that she cannot drop the charges against you. That's not a decision that she gets to make. She may go to the state attorney's office and ask them to drop the charges. She may tell them that this was all a misunderstanding and she does not want to go forward. But that decision ultimately belongs to the assistant state attorney who is handling your case. So unless that person or the judge on your case tells you the charges are dropped, you should assume they are not dropped and you should not have contact. In addition, I've got to hold you today up until 4 p.m. so that if she wanted to serve you with a civil injunction for protection against domestic violence, we'd know where to find you. If you get the civil injunction, it's doubly important that you not have contact because in that case, not only could you get your bond revoked here, but you could get new charges for violating the injunction. I'm going to have you back in court on July 31st. Very important, Robert, that when you get out, you go and see the public defender right away, all right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. William Neville.
Sir.
Morning, William. What's your date of birth?
10/8/61.
Okay. William, you're here on a warrant that was signed by Judge Rupi. She found probable cause for one count of felony driving on a suspended license. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Or would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender, please.
I'll appoint the public defender. State, what can you tell me?
Looks like there's a handful of these prior. There's one on one felony driving on the suspended just from 2016 that he got 2 years probation on. Prior to that, we have a trip to prison, looks like in 2012, for a combination of reducing intro contraband and sale of controlled substance. Prior to that, possession of paraphernalia, possession of oxycodone, that was in 2011. Possession of cocaine in 2007. Another driving charge in 2006. Multiple count possession or obtaining probably by worthless check. That goes on for a couple pages.
That's good. William, I've got an address for you on Timber Lane in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
I've been there for about 3 years.
Do you have a job these days?
No, I'm trying to get this above.
Okay. Are you currently on probation?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to set your bond at the $2,000, William, and I don't know if you had the ability to bond out or not, but if you do, you may want to think twice, because I'm quite certain that because of this charge, whoever your probation officer is probably going to violate your probation. When that warrant comes down, the bond on that warrant will be no bond. If you've spent money bonding out on this charge, you may lose that money because you bonded out. But that's entirely up to you. That VOP is not in front of me now. That hasn't happened yet, but I feel quite certain that it will. This charge will be back on the 31st of July. If you do bond out, you should go see the public defender right away. If you don't bond out, they'll come see you at the jail before then, all right?
Okay.
Thank you. Thomas Smalley.
Molly.
Morning, Thomas. Sorry to wake you. What's your date of birth?
10/85.
Charge this morning is assault on a person 65 or older. There's probable cause for that charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender, I guess.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Public defender, I guess.
All right. I'll appoint the public defender. State what can you tell me?
In 2016, carrying a concealed weapon case that he resolved for 60 days. 2011 battery, 2011 domestic battery, those are separate. 2009 FTA, 2009 VOP, a paraphernalia note 3, and then there's a litany of other battery arrests that didn't go anywhere.
Okay. All right. Thomas, I have an address for you on Folkestone Street in Weeki Wachee. Is that where you've been staying?
Yes, that's my house.
Okay. Is that where Miss Blankenship lives?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
No, sir. I'm on SSI right now.
Okay. All right. I'm going to set your bond at $2,500. Condition of the bond is that you have no contact with Miss Blankenship. Since I noticed you were taking a nap, I'll assume you didn't hear me explain what no contact means. So please listen carefully. No contact means no contact of any kind. You don't call, you don't write, you don't email, you don't text message. You don't contact her through any social media. You don't have a third person contact her. You don't go where she lives. You don't go where she works. You don't have any contact of any kind. Any way that you might imagine contacting her, I forbid you to do that. If you have contact and we find out about it, your bond can be revoked. You can be held without bond until the charges are resolved. It means no contact even if she wants to contact, so if you answer your phone and hear her voice, you should hang up. If you're out and about and see her, you should turn around and run the other way. You need to understand that she cannot drop the charges against you. That's not a decision she gets to make. She may go to the state attorney's office and ask them to drop the charges. She may tell them she's not interested in pursuing this matter. But that decision belongs solely to the assistant state attorney handling your case. So unless that person or the judge on your case tells you the charges are dropped, you should assume they are not dropped, and you should not have contact. In addition, I'm going to hold you until 4 p.m., up until 4 p.m. this afternoon, so that if she wanted to serve you with a civil injunction for protection against domestic violence, we'd know where to find you. If you get the civil injunction, it's doubly important that you not have contact, because in that case, not only could you get your bond revoked here, but you could get new criminal charges for violating the injunction. You'll be back in court on the 31st of July. They told you August 2nd. It'll be July 31st. If you're able to get out, please go see the public defender right away, all right?
All right.
Thank you. Richard Watkins. Morning, Richard. What's your date of birth?
10/22/68.
All right. Richard, you are here on a writ of bodily attachment. What that means is a child support hearing officer and a circuit judge determined that you owe some child support, and they set a cash purge of $910. Do you have $910, Richard?
No, sir.
All right. Are you working these days?
I just started doing work again for myself, Your Honor.
Okay. What kind of work do you do?
I'm a handyman.
Okay. How long has it been since you had any kind of regular employment, Richard?
Almost 4 years. My dad just passed away. I took care of him for the last 4 years. He was 24-hour care.
Okay. All right. And Richard, is there any amount of money that you could get to the jail today if it meant getting out of jail?
I got $100 in my account. I could probably get somebody to bring $100 and give it back to them or whatever.
Okay. All right, so here's what we're going to do, Richard. I'll find that you're in contempt for not paying your child support. The sanction for that contempt is that I'm going to have you incarcerated here in the Hernando County Jail for 10 days starting today, or until you get $100 to the county jail, all right? So as soon as somebody shows up with $100, you're out of jail, unless you've been there for 10 days. If you do the 10 days, then you're out of jail. Once you've gotten out of jail, you need to contact the Florida Department of Revenue, because if you don't talk to them about your child support arrearage and try to work something out, eventually they'll start this process over again. You wind up getting arrested again, all right?
Yes, sir.
Very good. 10 days or $100 cash. Good luck, Richard.
Thank you, sir.
George Watson. Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
August 8th, 1978.
George, you're also here on arrest for failed to report a sex offender registration violation. As to that charge, there is probable cause. You want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Defender, please.
Did you say public defender?
Yes, sir.
I'll appoint the PD. State.
Locally, he doesn't have all that much. He has a failure to register out of Marion County in 2012. I can see that he went to DOC in Pennsylvania or New York for theft in 2010. He's a 2009 failure to register that's out of state. I haven't been able to discover what the underlying reason that he has to register was for.
Okay. And George, are you working these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I work for People Ready Staffing Solutions in Brooksville.
Okay. All right. I'm going to leave your bond for the schedule, which is $5,000. I do have to order GPS monitoring. If you're able to bond out, you would be subject to GPS monitoring at your expense. We'll have you back in court on the 31st of July. If you're able to get out, you should go see the public defender right away. If you can't get out, they will come see you at the jail before your court date, all right?
Okay.
Thank you.
And the answer to my other question was in the PC. I just should have probably wrote that.
Jordan Zimmerman. Morning, Jordan. What's your date of birth?
2697.
Jordan, you're here on 2 warrants that I signed. Both of them are because you failed to appear in one case on 1 charge of possession of marijuana and 2 counts of paraphernalia, and the second case a charge of possession of paraphernalia. And state, was there a resolution for Jordan?
At this point, I'm willing to offer him 30 days to resolve all the cases.
Jordan, if you wanted to do 30 days in the county jail with credit for the 2 that you've got in right now, that would resolve all these charges. If you'd rather have an opportunity to speak to a lawyer first, you sure can do that.
I'll speak.
You'll do the 30 days? Is that what you said?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. You understand by entering pleas in these cases, you give up the right to have a trial by jury, the right to confront the witnesses against you, the right to remain silent, and the right to have a lawyer represent you, but you want to give up those rights so we can resolve these cases today?
Yes, sir.
Very good. In case number 17, MM2045, as to the charge of count 1 that you possessed marijuana, how do you wish to plead? You may plead no contest.
No contest.
And to the charges 2 and 3, which are both possession of paraphernalia, how do you wish to plead? You can plead no contest.
No contest.
I'll accept those pleas. I'll find they're freely and voluntarily made. I'll adjudicate you guilty on the 2 counts of paraphernalia. I'll withhold adjudication on the marijuana. I'll sentence you to 30 days in the county jail on each charge, with credit for 2 days served on each charge, but they will be running concurrently or at the same time. There'll be a fine and court cost of $518 on count 1, and there are going to be small additional counts on 2 and 3 that'll be approximately $88 apiece. It might be a little more than that. There'll be a cost of incarceration as well. In case number 17, MM2028, as to the charge of possession of paraphernalia, how do you wish to plead? You can plead no contest.
No contest.
I'll accept that plea as well. Find it's freely and voluntarily made. Adjudicate you guilty. Sentence you to 30 days in the county jail, running concurrently with the other case. Also with credit for 2 days served. In that case, there'll be a fine and court cost of $518. That takes care of everything, Jordan. You just need to finish the time, all right?
I'm sorry, Your Honor. There's apparently investigative costs associated with both cases.
Okay.
$125 in case number ending in 2045 and $117.50 in the other case. They're both to the Brooksville Police Department.
Very good. So ordered. All right. Thank you, George.
No.
Because the outcome know what the additional costs are on those, so we'll figure it out later. The Ray, Florida legislature. Joseph Cordelia.
Morning.
Morning, Joe. What's your date of birth?
11/13/67.
Very good. Joe, you have a charge of simple battery this morning. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Oh. Get. I'll get my.
You can get your own?
Lawyer. Yeah.
Okay. State?
Not much that's going to sway you. The only thing I show is a 1986 trespassing charge in Georgia.
Okay. All right. And Joe, I have an address for you on Portillo Road in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes.
And do you have a job these days?
No.
Okay. And you live right next door to, what's her name, Susan?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. So, Joe, I'm going to release you on your own recognizance today, but the condition is that you have no contact with Susan. And I'm sure that you heard me explain no contact, right?
Yes.
And you understood that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now that's especially difficult for you because you guys live next door to each other and you're going to see her. So what that means is I don't want you, making faces at her. I don't want you to flip her the bird or anything like that. You understand?
Yes.
You just have to ignore her, okay? And I get that apparently she's being hard to ignore, but that's what you're going to have to do until we get this worked out, all right?
All right.
All right. I just want you to be clear because I don't want you, this isn't a big deal, but I get that she's being very frustrating to you. But until we get this resolved, you really have to just steel yourself to not have any contact or any reaction to her, okay? All right.
Yep.
As soon as you get out, we're going to have you back in court on the 2nd of August. Make sure that you find your lawyer right away and tell him about that court date, okay?
All right.
Thanks, Joe. Good luck. Joseph McGlinchey. Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
9/11/1996.
And Joe, we have a warrant for you out of Citrus County. Apparently you failed to appear there on a charge of driving on a suspended license. The judge that issued that warrant found probable cause and set a bond of $2,000. I can't change that. If you can post the $2,000, then you can go up to Inverness, find out when they want you back in court. If you can't post it, we'll let them know right away, and they'd have 5 days to come get you. As I've said, with Citrus County, it doesn't take 5 days, but if for some strange reason you were still here in 5 days, they'd bring you back to see me, and we'd find out what the holdup is, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Christopher Giacalone. Morning, Christopher. What's your date of birth?
1/2/95.
Okay. All right. State, let's start with the first one. The first arrest report I have for you, Christopher, there's a DUI, 2 counts of possession or 3 counts of possession of weapon or ammo by a convicted felon and 1 count of false ID to Leo. And state on the possession charges, in the first affidavit, it doesn't say anything about anybody claiming possession. In the second affidavit, the rear seat passenger who was sitting next to the weapons claimed they were his. Based on that, I'm going to find no PC on those charges. There were 3 people in the car. The person nearest to the weapons said they were his. I don't know if there might ultimately be something else, but based on that, it's not a constructive possession case from the look of it. So, Christopher, on the first one, I'm finding probable cause for the DUI and the false name. In the second case, then, I have an obstructing without violence. I'll find probable cause for that. And then the third one, I believe, is an out-of-county warrant, right?
Yeah, looks like he's an FTA from Citrus.
Citrus, right. Which is a fail to appear out of Citrus. Okay, hang on. Why does it say no bond? Actually, no bond? It is. Okay. And so on the fail to appear, the judge there has found signed a warrant for the fail to appear. So on the local charges, the DUI, the false name, and the resisting, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel, would you like the public defender?
I would like a public defender, Your Honor.
I'm going to appoint the public defender. State what you got.
He's got a 2014 possession of controlled substance charge and a 2013 petty theft charge.
Okay. So 1 and 5. And Christopher, I got an address for you on Beaumont Lane in Lecanto. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you lived there?
About 7 years.
You have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I'm a mechanic at Pennzoil, in and out.
Okay. Okay. All right. On the DUI, I'm going to set the bond. Goodness. State any idea why they would have set the bond on the false name at $5,000 other than a typo?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. On the DUI, I'll set the bond at $500. On the 3 charges where I found no probable cause, it's ROR, and on the false name at $500. So the total on that case is $1,000. I'll still have it come back on the 31st of July. On the resisting without, that's no bond either. I'll set that at $500. That's also going to come back. That's coming back on the 2nd of August. That's the local charges. And then the FTA out of Citrus, of course, is at no bond. So how it'll work for you, Christopher, is if you can post the bonds on the local charges, then they'll let Citrus know that you're ready to go, and they'll ship you up there because that's a no bond. If you can't post a bond on the local charges, you'll have to stay here until those charges are resolved, and at that point they'd send you to Citrus County, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, very
I
good.
want to double check and make
Thank
sure
you.
that Citrus County warrant's really no bond.
Yeah, it is. I got the teletype.
Oh, you have it? Okay. Because once I started looking at the other bonds, I was like, that might have just been.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
I did too. I was suspicious of it, but that was correct.
Okay.
Okay.
That's an interesting one.
All right, Daniel Volte.
Good morning.
Morning, Daniel. What's your date of birth?
5/18/68.
Charge is possession of methamphetamine. There's probable cause for that charge. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. Going to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, state.
I think his record's clean. I show a contempt arrest, but I believe it's for child support.
And Daniel, I have an address. I don't have an address for you. Where have you been staying lately?
I've been sleeping. I'm homeless. I've been sleeping.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
No, I have some odd jobs coming up.
Okay. I'm going to set your bond at $500. I'll have you back in court on the 8th of August. If you get out, make sure you go see the public defender right away, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And Desmond Outlaw. Morning, Desmond. What's your date of birth?
12/20/76.
All right. Let's see if I can sort this out. All right. First charge is trafficking in phenylalanines with a firearm. Then we have possession of cocaine with intent, possession of weapon by a convicted felon, possession of methamphetamine, possession of marijuana with intent, resisting without violence, possession of alprazolam with intent, and possession of drug paraphernalia. There's probable cause for these charges. As to the charges, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel, would you like the public defender?
I would like to.
I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. State what you got.
One get the impression that Mr. Outlaw sells drugs for a living. He's a 17 possession with intent case he went to DOC for, 28 multi-count sale of controlled substance went to DOC for, 2001 resisting with other charges he went to DOC for over 5 years for, another resisting with violence, 99 and 98 violations of probation on 96 coke case that he went to prison for, and a 94 sale of controlled substance that was brought up from juvenile.
And Desmond, I have an address for you on Lemon Avenue in Brooksville. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long you been there?
Oh, well, Lemon Avenue is my mom's address.
Okay, that's where you get your mail, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And my address, 9228 West Street.
Okay, here in Brooksville.
Yes, sir.
All right, you got a job these days?
I work, cut lawns and
Right.
stuff like that.
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm going to leave the bonds for the schedule, which is $50,000 on the trafficking case, $5,000 on the cocaine, $10,000 on the possession of weapon, $2,000 on the meth, $2,000 on the marijuana, $1,000 on the resisting, $5,000 on the alprazolam, and $1,000 on the paraphernalia. That should be a total of $76,000. That'll be coming back on the 8th of August. If you get out, make sure you go see the PD right away. Otherwise, they'll come see you at the jail, all right? Thank you.
Am I?
Is there a question, Desmond?
Cause I have an 8-month-old that I take care of while his mom goes to work.
Yeah, and Desmond, it's not that I'm insensitive to that, but when I'm setting bonds, I have to consider the nature of the charges and the nature of the history of the person. That's you. This is fairly significant drug charges, and you have a fairly significant history for convictions of drug charges, so there really isn't any reason for me to change the bonds off the schedule. So I'm not going to, and unfortunately that means they'll have to make other arrangements for your child, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. And Scott, do they know what time?
11 o'clock.
11 a.m. for Judge Rupi this morning.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.